Good afternoon, or is a warm, bright and sunny day. It is Friday, the 7th of April. I've got a nice hot cup of tea and a parcel to continue unboxing. So, what I've pulled out of here is a thick sheaf of issues of White Dwarf magazine. Now I've looked at so far 13, 14, 16, so sadly no 15, 17, 18, and the last one I have in that bundle is issue 21, which was published in November 1980, and by then there had been a price rise from 60 pence to a whole 75 pence. So this promised Survival, an SF mini board game, and Tomb of the Maharaja, an AD&D mini module. So opening up the issue, we've got a full colour advert on the inside, and this is for the board games from publishing Filmar Limited of Sorcerer's Cave, Mystic Wood and the Sorcerer's Cave expansion. Sorcerer's Cave is a fantastic dungeon adventure that unfortunately you kind of need a very large surface or space upon which to play it, almost like a school hall, a community hall, or gymnasium, something like that, because the tiles are really big. And the thing is, they're so big that you put them down for one level, and then you go on to the next level, and it's another level down. You've got to find space for that big. And then news that there's going to be a new Games Workshop opening in Manchester. It's sort of like one of the first expansions for Games Workshop. Sim pubs based in Altrincham was selling Star Force and Ares, and this is basically where you get your SBI role-playing games and magazines at the time. Advert for 2 play aids for Games Workshop, for RuneQuest, so Rune Masters and Plunder. Rune Masters probably more used than Plunder, to be fair. Full listing of circular miniatures, but as full as they could be. And then we get into the editorial contents page for the magazine. Before the first issue is Lore of the Land, and this is a continuing piece. So essentially, this is how to adapt the Chronicles of Thomas Covenant Unbeliever by Steve Donaldson to a D&D. With new character classes, Lore Lords, the Hirebrand or Lilandril, which are magic users specialising in the manipulation and magic of wood. Blood Guards are the bodyguards and so on. So you've got sort of various different classes in here. That's basically, I think this must be the first part, because they've got a section of monsters done elsewhere. And then Roger E. Moore, who would, I believe, would go on to edit Dragon, discusses the role of merchants, and gives a merchant class. And the thing is, it's sort of like the merchant class is sort of like you're kind of going, it's probably not a character class that goes adventuring, so it feels quite an odd addition for Dungeons and Dragons. There are role-playing games where you will happily play a merchant, but going down a dungeon, not so much. Whether it's the Isthries cult and connected characters for RuneQuest and Garatha, so on is the most obvious, but there are others too. Open box. So what we've got here is really a review of some board games. So Ashanti High Lightning from Game Designers Workshop was a big box set which provided the floor plans in 15mm for a large cruiser, the Ashanti High Lightning, a large Imperial cruiser, 14 plans are modular, can be used in different orders to represent the 84 decks with the 3 chief types of Lightning class cruisers. And this was sort of like designed for boarding actions and role playing and so on, that sort of thing. It's just sort of like huge and big and sort of like a bit unwieldy, to be fair. Then 2 products from Task Force Games. Actually, they're both getting quite lengthy reviews given what their size of the little products are. So then we've got Intruder, which is, you know, alien on board a spaceship hunting down the crew. Guess what was it that inspired? And then Castle Falkenstein is basically an assault on a castle, a prince going in to reclaim his inheritance and from the monsters and who is overtaken over the castle. So you've got a big sort of like map of a castle underneath, and it's sort of like a dungeon and a game. And you know, introduce the concept of going in with mercenaries armed with machine guns, as I recall. Really ought to, I mean, I do have a copy of Valkenburg Castle, so I really should dig it out and look at it. Then we have the letters page. So you've actually got a letter there from Lawrence Schick. Then Vice President Product Development at TSR. And so then Survival, which is the mini board game, science fiction mini board games by Bob McWilliams, who designed the scenario, which I really liked earlier. And so you've got all the rules in here, and then what you've got come out here, this is the magazine is damaged. You've got all the rules. I'm going to pull this out. You've got a advert for Forbidden Planet of all things. And so just basically and this is just general selling fiction rather than comics at the time. Advert for Judges Guild content, and then you've got the map area for the board game. And this section has been cut out for reasons I don't know, but yeah, there's Survival, there's the area for the board game, and then basically it's been separated for ease by the use of the magazine. And presumably what's happened is that this section contained the counters, and they were cut out for play. Treasure chest, just a 1 page, but that gives you a whole list of long, multiple spells like Rust or Flash, Frost Fingers, so on. Then we have continuing issue of Fiend Factory, but here is something where here is where Fiend Factory got interesting. Is it would actually take the monsters and develop a mini scenario around them. So, you know, we have the Brothers of the Pine, who undead creatures basically fused with pine sap, mice men and dragon warriors and so on, you know, all by different authors. But a regular feature introducing interesting monsters, now edited by LB Fiore, but he's put them together as a mini adventure, so you all have an excuse to encounter these new and different monsters. News, without the crystal ball, what's the news then? Metagaming is going to release new MicroQuest, Treasure of the Silver Dragon, for use with Melee and Wizard. Games Designers Workshop is a release as a new 120 game, Asteroid. Basically, you've got to get a board of Asteroid Base. Twilight's Peak is to be Traveller Adventure number 3. Yeah, you can do album games are now out. Your Swashbuckler, Heroes, Shooting Stars. I mean, Shooting Stars isn't one of the album games, but you know, you can come to games. I've done some unboxings of those, and they're really terrific pieces of design in terms of physicality, if not necessarily always great gameplay. List of game clubs, classifieds, and help section, which would get bigger over time. Starbase looked at various. This is now where we have a regular traveller feature, Starbase. And then we have really nice sort of like little adventure here on an ice world, essentially where the player characters have to transport something or look something, and they've got this like a caterpillar drive snow vehicle to use, and then a little area to explore as part of the scenario. And then 2 in the Maharaja, by S. Hartley is an AD&D module for 6th to 10th, 3rd and 4th level characters. I really don't remember this one, and the map is not very interesting, so it's going to be a case of, you know, what's in the dungeon, what are the traps and encounters going to be like, but it's given us a sort of like a high point on the front, but it's only it is a mini module. It's only a couple of pages long, if that. You've got an advert there for Games Day 80, which, let's have a look, just see what did it promise. Doesn't say any guests, but hold on. It does say to get on the previous page. You know, we have Sid Jackson, the game designer, who came over to prevent and so on, and others. That's what we got. Then we got Games of Liverpool advert, and then continued basic Tribes of Crane, which was a fantasy play-by-mail game. Dungeons and Starships advert for in Birmingham, Forever People in Bristol. These are continuing advertisers. Mortal Kombat for miniatures combat game. Then we have British Empire Strikes Back, which I think this one got Games Workshop into a little bit of trouble because it's emulated the crawl of Star Wars. But you've got the big board, some of the big board games that Games Workshop published during this period. So Apocalypse. Now it's I suppose now going back a few years, re-released as Warlord, its original format, and a very popular within Nintendo Steve Jackson Doctor Who game. Folly of the Four Winds, which was covered as a comic early in the design, and then a Wizards dueling game, so on. And then on the back you've got Top Secret, advert for Top Secret from TSR, which is all of course feels a bit more appropriate in its content for an espionage game, even if it's kind of if it's designed for players of 12 and over, and you've got sort of like that image there. So yeah, let's keep going back to sex does sell, even to 12-year-olds. Anyway, so White Dwarf number 21, not a great issue. I think it's got some interesting things in there. I think the star base is going to be good. I would be interested to read the reviews of the board games more than Ashanti High Lightning, I'm not bothered about the board game. It's something that very occasionally included. And then of course you have One-Eyed Canyon, which I think looks quite interesting as a design feature, that is inventive, and it makes use of reader submissions. So anyway, White Dwarf issue number 21, published in November 1980. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook, then please do click on the like button down below. And of course, if you've got any comments or feedback, I do appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, where you'll see me out here with a package typically containing a book or game, in this case a magazine, which I'll chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea, then please do click on the subscribe button down below. Thanks again for watching another unboxing the Nook. Be back again soon with another one. Bye for now.